She became an active member of the Bethany Church in Wayne in 1993, where she was appointed as a constable in 2019. She later joined the Bethany Church in Fort Lee, where she was successfully recruited many members to the congregation there. Sadly, she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer of the bile duct in August of 2020. After a valiant fight with the disease, our Lord called her to be with him on November 18, 2020.
It's been 1 week since my mother passed away, and I still feel her presence every minute of the day. Maybe it's because she was Sue Kim, the world's famous Sue Kim, larger-than-life Sue Kim, because that's how she was. It's how she behaved, it's how she dressed, and it's how she generously gave of herself. Or maybe I still feel her presence so strongly because I feel her love. The most important thing to her was her family. She loved her family so intensely. Despite everything she accomplished in life professionally, it was her children and her grandchildren who will always be her true legacy. My mom faced adversity throughout her life, starting at a young age, and she persevered. In fact, she more than persevered, she excelled. She was born during the Japanese occupation of Korea, grew up during the Korean War, immigrated to a foreign country without knowing the language. But in her mind, her biggest challenge will always be that she was faced with becoming a widow at the age of 43 and had to raise 3 children alone. Instantaneously, she assumed the role of being both a mother and a father. I remember expressing my sadness to my mother, and she said, with absolute certainty, we would survive. We had to because there was no other option. And that message of survival resonated so clearly with me, and I've carried it throughout my life. Everything my mom did, especially in the years immediately following my dad's death, was dedicated to making sure that my brothers and I were educated and we made it to adulthood. In fact, I really don't remember her doing much for herself during those days. And she was particularly proud of the fact that she had 2 sons who would become doctors. My mom was an extreme extrovert and a natural leader. She loved being surrounded by people, and she always worked to build community around her. Because she had a talent for entertaining and the love, as all we Koreans do for Korean food, she found her calling and became the area's leading party planner. As Michael stated, she began working for the first time when she was 50, and when she turned 65, as most of her peers were starting to retire, she was just getting started as she founded her own company, SK Party Planners. And she successfully ran it for the next 15 years until she turned 80. Her largest client was the United Nations, and she was, in fact, awarded the UN Vendor of the Year. Last June, she celebrated her 80th birthday and her retirement in style, as only a party planner preparing her own party would. Her other passion in life was building community here at Bethany Church, where she was an active member for 30 years. She gave generously of her time and took the lead by recruiting people to the church and organizing church activities. She gave whole new meaning to the term church fellowship, and she brought it to a completely new level, and she certainly set the bar high. My mom was almost invincible. She had survived so many challenges throughout her life, and she always came out on top. I honestly don't think anything could have stopped Sue Kim, because in my mind, she was larger than life. It had to take something truly monumental as cancer to slow my mom down. She was diagnosed in August, and her health declined rapidly. But during that time, her faith in God held strong, and even continued to grow. I spent almost every day with her, and even stuck by her side during her last nights. She never slept well, so unfortunately I never slept well either. But on her last night, I slept so deep that when I woke up the next morning, completely rested for a change, I realized my mom had passed away so quietly during the night. It was her final gift to me, that I could sleep peacefully as she quietly went to be with God and to be reunited with my dad. In the end, I know there will be no rest for Sook, because heaven will never be the same. Sook is there to manage the parties in heaven, and heaven will celebrate like it's never done before.
Thank you, everybody, for coming today. I know that hundreds of other people wanted to be here today, but weren't able to attend because of the ongoing pandemic. I want to thank Bethany Church for holding this memorial service. In particular, my family is extremely grateful to Reverend Paul Chang, who was available on such short notice over the holiday week. I wanted to thank all of the other ministers, including Reverend James Lee and Johan Peck, for supporting my mom during her 30 years with the church. We are very thankful to the ministers, the church, and the entire congregation for providing my mom the crucial emotional support and spiritual guidance during her last few months with us. I know that during her last few weeks, she exhibited a calmness that really belied her spiritual optimism, her peace, and her tranquility. I wanted to give very special thanks to my mother's sister-in-law and brother, who, Bo and Yu Chang. They really made such large personal sacrifices to provide my mom 24-hour care over the past several months. And I also wanted to thank Grace and young Lee for their very important emotional support. And finally, I wanted to thank Debbie. She really put her entire life on hold for the past several months. She provided anything and everything that my mom needed on a moment's notice. And she really was on call 24 hours a day for the past 12 months. And I'm very thankful that she was with my mom for her last moments. My mom wanted this to be a celebration. And we really do have a lot to celebrate. She led a very wonderful life. She did have a lot of adversity in her life, but she always faced that adversity without despair. And she accomplished remarkable things. And in doing so, she touched so many people's lives in countless ways. So thank you, Mom, for being an inspiration. You'll always be.